Chin, my man, how are you?
Hey, Stephanie, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Okay, I'm going to try to say your last name
Yeah.
without shredding it. So it
Yeah.
is Tavargeri.
Yep.
Chin
Tavargeri. Yep.
Tavargeri. All
hmm
right.
Yeah.
I
On
had
the
to
money.
practice a little bit,
Yeah.
but okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. After the SquadUp Summit, I was inspired to reach one of my goals that we all worked on at the end of the summit, and that was to really focus on building my social media presence consistently, doing that. And one of the things too that I wanted to do was provide value to others. And so I was reaching out to everybody I met. I met Chin and so many good people at that summit. And I was like, ooh, let's talk about our goals. So Chin is the first one to join me today to talk about his 3 goals. And then we're going to circle back in 60 days to see where you're at on that. Are you
Nice.
ready to do
You'll hold
it?
me accountable. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very
We'll get to
excited.
share the
Yeah.
wins, man. We'll get to celebrate
Yeah.
the
Share the
wins.
wins.
So tell
Yeah.
me first, how did you get to real estate? And then we'll go to the goals.
Yeah. So my background is in civil engineering, and like I worked at a construction company and as a project manager. And then lately, with my last job, I was in consulting and just on the construction side, dealing with buildings, utilities, underground stuff. And I've always had like an affinity for houses and real estate. I wanted to be an architect when I was younger. So it's kind of like always been in the back of my mind. And then in the past year, I was just looking for other income streams to try to build on top of my W 2 just so I can get that financial freedom, and not have to rely on a W 2 for the rest of my life. And that's how I came upon wholesaling as like a good side hustle, I guess, if you want to call it. And then I just you know, started doing it, and that was in November 2023. So I did it for like 1 or 2 months. I got one property under contract, but then the seller ghosted me, so I had to cancel that. Yeah, and I was actually very surprised because it was like within the first week I got a property under contract. So I was very surprised. I'm like, oh, this stuff's easy. Yeah, I'm like, anyone could do this. No, but then I realized like there's a lot of twists and turns, and so many things can just go wrong. But had to cancel that. I had to cancel 2 contracts. Almost got a third one under contract, but then now I got one under contract, and it's closing tomorrow, April
Ooh,
30th. My first deal.
yes.
So yeah, so I started in October, November, took a break over the holidays, and started again in February of 2024. And I realized, I think I'm a people person. I can talk to people. I'm an outgoing person. So talking to sellers or agents is something that I'm comfortable doing. Like I don't mind talking to random people on the phone or whatever. And I like houses and real estate, so I figured this was a good avenue to pursue. So now here we are. Um,
Yes.
that's how I got into real estate, I guess. Yeah,
Love
just starting
it.
out. Yeah,
Awesome.
and yeah, and
Okay.
I'm really glad I came to SquadUp Summit because
Yeah.
just wanted to basically my goal was to network, meet as many people as I can, learn more about the industry, learn more about creative finance, and learn more about the sub two community because I'm actually not a member yet, but that as we'll talk about, that's one of my goals. So
Ooh, I can
yeah,
help you with
little
that.
sneak peek. Yeah,
I
yeah,
am a sub 2 member. So
nice. Yeah,
nice. Okay, so sneak peek. So then your 3 goals. Okay, so what Pace did is he said, write your 10 goals. And then he said, circle 3 of them. And then he said, these are the 3 you're going to get done in 60 days.
yeah.
And so that was a really interesting way to do it, right? Because I had
Yeah.
circled 3, and then I was like, oh, in 60 days? Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do all
Yeah.
these in 60 days. So I had to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I did the exact same thing. I like even like to this day I was like switching around. When you texted me about doing this podcast, I was like, let me, today I was gonna go through my goals and
Uh-huh.
start reaching out to people that I met last week anyway. So it's perfect timing. And I readjusted some of the goals that I had to make it
Okay.
more attainable and just more realistic and something that can be done in 60 days.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And just to give an example, so one of my goals that I've had since the beginning of this year is I want 12 pad split properties by the end of this year. And so that was the goal that I circled. And then he said, you got to do it in 60 days. And I was like, yeah, not happening.
Yeah.
I already
Yeah.
had the timeline on that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
keep that for by the end of this year. And I circled
Yeah.
the social media one as, okay, I know I can see improvement and build this up in the next 60 days. So that was one of
Yeah.
my goals. So, okay, your 3 goals that you've settled on now, what is your first one?
Okay. So my first goal is to get 2 wholesale deals within 60 days. So I think closing in 2 deals in 60 days would be nice, but if I just get 2 under contract, that will hopefully close is my goal. And um, I think it's pretty attainable. My and one of the things I know we talked about was how am I going to achieve these goals is I want to send out or at least talk to 10 potential agents or sellers a day.
Okay.
So I know, Pace and Jamil and Jerry Norton, they say send out contracts. Um, but when you're going direct to seller, I think that's a little easier where you can just send out contracts. But I'm going straight to the agent, direct to agent outreach. And for that, if I'm calling up to at least 10 agents, talking to them about the property, and then being able to hopefully send out 10 contracts would be, I think it's a doable, attainable goal, or I guess milestone every day
Yeah.
to check off that 10 box. And then, that's a couple hundred offers in 2 months. So of those, hopefully at least 1 or 2 should hit. Well, 2 because that's the goal. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So, okay, so that's awesome. I love the way that you're talking about the goal that you have and then what are the actions you're going to take to that to accomplish that. So, I that reminds me of when I read Grant Cardone's 10X Uncle G,
Uncle
right?
G. Yeah.
From the Squad Up. And I read his book 10X last year, and he talks
Mhm.
about writing your goals down. One of the things that he said is write it down, literally, write it down every morning and then every night. So that's the first thing that you focus your brain on as soon as you wake up. And that sets the
Mhm.
intention, the tone for the day, right? And then at night, you're reviewing it again. What are those goals? One of the things that he said too was you set the goal and you don't change it. So no matter how hard it gets, he said, you don't change it. So if you said 12
Yeah.
properties, because believe me, I've had this internal conversation in my head. I said 12
Yeah.
properties by the end of this year. Well, I'm a little bit behind
Yeah.
this year. So I'm like, well, maybe I should drop that down a little bit. But I'm like, nope,
Yeah.
nope. I'm going to keep
You
focusing
said,
on 12 properties by the end of this year. So, because
yeah.
hey, maybe I end up maybe it's slow to begin with, but then I pick it up later, right? And I get that
Hmm.
momentum going because I've set that intention. I'm focusing on that, and I'm saying that I'm putting it out there in the universe, right? Just over and over
Yeah.
again. 12 properties. So yeah,
Yeah.
so 10 calls or are you doing calls? Are you doing text, emails?
Doing everything. First, I'm calling. Like I'll see a property, then I'll call. If they don't pick up, I'll leave voicemail. If I find their email online, I'll send an email. If I have their phone number, I'll send them a text. Just anything to get an agent's attention. And usually agents are good about calling back because they want to sell the property and make their commission and fee. So
Yeah.
um, so just doing every different form of communication to start. Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of one wholesaler I saw at one of the meetups. He was talking about he calls first, and if there's no answer, he hangs up and he calls again immediately,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because sometimes they
Oh
don't
wow.
answer the first ring, but they'll answer the second ring. And then
Okay.
he follows up with a text message within an hour and an email, I think within 2 hours or within 24 hours, something like that. And that's what he does over and over and over again. And he's an agent,
Yeah.
and he's going direct to
Oh.
agent. So,
Okay.
maybe think about that pattern of how you're going to reach out to each one of those people and when you're going to reach out. That's part of
Yeah.
like how you're going to accomplish this goal. So at least 10 a day, and then call, text, email, or whatever way that
Yeah.
you could try it one way, see if that works, and then maybe switch it up next week if that doesn't seem to be working for you. But he said that that's what he does, and oh my gosh, he was closing deals
Yeah.
like nobody's business last year.
Nice. Yeah, I just wrote that down. I like that. I like that call twice idea because usually, even if I get a random phone number, I don't pick up on the first one. Let it either
Exactly.
go to voicemail, or if they call again, then like, all right, this is a real person, not like a scam or something like
Right.
that.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
Yes.
also I also I also heard on another podcast that like when you're doing cold calling, a lot of times people don't pick up a random number. So
Mhm.
if you text first, like if you have a mobile number and you text first, and then call,
Yeah.
I know iPhone does this, but like it'll pick up that like you put your name in the text saying, "Hey, this is Chinmay. I'm calling about this property."
Yeah.
And when you call, it'll say like maybe like it'll give my name as like a caller ID instead of like just a random number.
Ah.
So I've been trying that as well, just texting first and then calling, but then texting first then calling twice is going to be my new thing. So I'll try that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a very
Yeah,
good point. Maybe it's better to do the text first and then say, I'll call you in the next couple of hours or something like that. And then they know
yeah,
it's real. You've already kind of done that soft intro
yeah,
of you're a real person and you want to know about X property and you'll be calling at X time, and then you just call at that time, and then maybe they will pick up on that first ring. Yes.
yeah,
Great
yeah. Because then
idea.
they'll see, I guess, as a real person calling. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I like it. Okay, so that's goal number 1. What's goal number 2?
So goal number 2 is to, since I'm just starting out in real estate and creative finance, is to build my network, um, and just meet as many people as I can. I had it as build my network to at least 2 of each avatar,
Mm,
but I changed it to just build my network of people in the industry in general. Just because I want to meet as many people as I can in sub two, but even if they're not in sub two and they're still in real estate, I still want to meet people. Like the week before Squad Up, I went to like a local REI meetup here in San Francisco, and I met a bunch of people there, and a potential lender, and I've talked to him over the last week. So even if he's not in sub two, he's still in the real estate industry, so I want to
right.
meet him. Um, and yeah, and to do that, I'm gonna say, let's see, schedule at least 3 intro calls with either people I met last week at Squad Up, or just by reaching out to people on Facebook, because there's always
Mhm.
people saying, "Hey, reach out if you need anything." Um, just being go givers, like Pace says. So that's my second goal, to just build the network as much as I can, because as they say, the network is your net worth is your network,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. That reminds me of Jesse Stanton. Have you heard of him? He's one of the original students in the mentorship.
Oh yeah, don't think so. Let me write his name down.
He is awesome. I think I did my second podcast with him. And oh my gosh, he lives in Alaska. And
Wow.
he and Shane's another awesome guy. They started doing a separate group called Network to Net Worth. And that's you focusing on avatars. That's exactly what they said is actually they said pick 3 avatars that you're going to work with. And then what you do with those 3 avatars, excuse me, what you do with those 3 avatars is you just focus all your energy on those 3 avatars. And those are going to be, so for example, you're wholesaling. So you'll want to connect with buyers, right? Fix and flippers, those kind of avatars that you can sell the properties to. What you want to do is get at least 25 connections for each of those 3 avatars. And you start meeting with those people. You start reaching out to anybody you can search Facebook all over the place, all the groups you can search by those keywords. And then you start meeting with them, developing a relationship with them by having the reaching out like weekly. It could be newsletters, text message, call, meetups, anyway, any of those ways. And then that's how you're building those relationships with those 3 avatars. It's great to connect with everybody, but at the same time, what Jesse and Shane were saying is you got to be intentional with your time. And because time is, we don't have infinite amount of time, right? So you want to be intentional with that. And can you truly build relationships with all the avatars, meeting with all of them, so many people doing so many things. So maybe you narrow it down to 3. And then if you have 25 for each of those 3, now you can do so many different things with that combination of people. So I'm just sharing stuff.
No, like
you're not even asking me for.
No, this is great.
It triggers stuff.
Because that makes, that definitely makes a lot of sense. Because I'd want to be with people that I would be working with, instead of. I mean, it is good to know everybody, but there's some people that I wouldn't probably do business with at this stage. So.
Right.
And no, I like that. I like that idea. Just focus on the three main ones that I would interact with.
Yes,
Put that
absolutely.
down as you wrote it. Yeah.
It's just like Kevin and the number of people too. Like Kevin doesn't have a ton of buyers that he's working with necessarily. He has his small group of buyers that he knows are consistently buying all the time, right? So that's what you're looking for too. You don't want to have to necessarily keep growing and growing and growing the list. You want to find those people with that specific avatar that's going to, that you can have that long-term relationship with, not a one and done kind of deal. But cool. Okay. So 2nd goal down. What's your 3rd goal?
3rd goal is just learn as much as I can there is to know about creative finance. And that's kind of an ambiguous goal, and it's hard to measure in this sense of how are we going to measure it in 60 days. But I was thinking to do that, I want to join sub 2, go through the knowledge base, and again, I think this ties back to just networking as many people as I can and learn all the different methods, because I got a good understanding of sub 2 and seller finance, just the basic strategies, but a hybrid deal or Morby method or any how to do sub 2 for businesses, or Pace mentioned taking a private money on the equity on your house, and just being creative in all different ways. Somebody I met last week, Adam Catledge, I think it's Cutledge. But he mentions creative finance or sub 2 is not actually about doing a sub 2 transaction for real estate. It's just being
Mhm.
like unlocking your mind and being like finding creative ways to solve somebody's problem.
Yes.
So to be able, in my position as a wholesaler right now, if I'm going to go to a seller or an agent to try to give an offer, it's basically solving someone's problem. So the more different methodologies that I have in my tool belt or toolbox that I can utilize to give a creative offer, the better. Um,
Yes.
so it's kind of an ambiguous goal, but I just want to learn as much as I can right now.
Yeah. How would you measure that? Hmm. It's a
I
good
mean,
one.
let's see. Maybe I could change it to read at least one book on creative finance in the next 60 days to make it
Yeah.
like a measurable goal. I'm
Yeah.
already reading Pace's book, so that could I know he mentioned another book. I think it was Robert Allen's book, Nothing Down.
Oh,
I wrote that down.
yes.
Maybe I could change it to read that book in the next 60 days.
Yeah. Well, if you get Audible, which it took me
Yeah.
for people, Jesse was trying to convince me on our podcast to get, something like an
Yeah.
Audible or whatever to listen to books. And I
Yeah.
just never ever I never thought about doing that because I was like, how am I going to listen to it and actually absorb it? But the crazy thing
Yeah.
is, um I did do that, and I have gone through so many books, and
Yeah.
I would listen to them. It like Tony Robbins said, there I think he calls it net, no extra time. You are listening to a book when you're getting up in the morning, getting ready, brushing your teeth. You're listening to a book when you're making
Yeah.
your coffee, when you're driving to work or running your errands. You're listening and constantly taking
Yeah.
information in. And so I started doing that. And so a couple of things I noticed. One is I actually started craving it. Like I was
Hmm.
listening to that instead of listening to music. And I
Yeah.
love music. I listen to music all the
Yeah.
time, all the time.
Yeah.
So I was craving that. I had to hear what was the next thing. The other thing was if I was in between books or thought, okay, I'll take a break from reading this book or listening to this book, and I turned on talk radio or something. And what I found is that while I was working and then trying to listen to the talk radio, which I have done for years and never had a problem, I could not
Hmm.
focus. I have had to shut
Yeah.
off the radio because now when I'm listening, I am actually taking in that information. And now I can't
Yeah.
focus on the task that I'm trying to really accomplish for my
Yeah.
job or whatever. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
Audible or any one of those type of apps, I highly, highly
Mhm.
recommend it. It really changed things for me. And I've noticed that it's not only impacted what I'm doing in my business and with my partnerships and with networking with people and with my son, but I've noticed how I've changed in my W-2. I can see that I can see things differently. And things don't impact me the same way in a good way.
Mhm.
So it's amazing, like all the kind of mindset stuff, plus any of the business related entrepreneurial type of stuff. It's all so good. I can send you my list of
Yeah.
books.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. The thing I have Audible and I've had like the monthly subscription for so long, but like now I have like 20 credits stacked up, but I don't have any books to download. So if you have any good books that you want to send my way, please let me know so I have
Totally.
I have a backlog of credits that I could use towards these books. So
That's
right now, right
awesome.
now, right now I'm listening to Pace's book. Um,
Yes.
and I also got not the PDF, but the Kindle, I guess. Yeah, Wealth Without Cash. I got
Yes.
the Kindle version, and then I also have the Audible version. So now I'm
Nice.
like, when I'm like, cleaning or cooking or doing something like that, then I'll just listen to the Audible. And then when I'm sitting around doing nothing and want to be productive, then I'll read the book and also have it in the ear, playing in my ear
Yes.
at the same time. So So double
Yes.
the knowledge.
Right. Oh, I've done that.
Yeah.
I listened to Profit First
Mhm.
by Mike Mikowski, I think it is. And I listened to it and I was just like, oh, I love this book, but I need to see it. I need, and of
Yeah.
course, a lot of these books now, they know they're on Audible, so they provide web resources, but I still was like, I need the book. I want to see it in
Yeah.
the book. So I bought the book, and on the way to Squad Up and on the way back, I was reading that and underlining all this stuff. I was like, yep, I've seen this, I've seen that. This is, and I was making my notes and doing my own numbers in there to see how
Yeah.
it would work. And oh my gosh, yeah, I think that goes with what your learning modalities are, right? Some people are really good with learning by sound, by hearing it. Others have to see it,
Yeah.
and many of us have to hear, see, and do, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that helps a lot. Okay, so we've talked about the three goals and some of the actions that you can take to reach those goals,
Yeah.
and then we've talked a bit about the measuring, like how do you know when you've been successful in 60 days. Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, since you're looking for more pad split properties and I'm a wholesaler right now, maybe I'd add that as a goal. Try to find you another property. So actually one of the goals that I wrote down was do a deal with at least one person I connected with at Squad Up.
Bam,
Um, there you
let's
go.
do
That's
it.
one of the other extra goals. Not part of the
Yes,
three that we talked about, but um
I could be one of your
that's
two that you get done in the next 60 days.
yeah.
That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome. Yes. So if I haven't, I think I did I send you my buy box? I'll
I
send you
think you
my buy.
did, yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in fact, that's something I've shared with other wholesalers. It's, so many times when people are new to wholesaling, they're eager to go get that property, but then the problem is they don't have the buyers lined up, right? So
Yeah.
with you focusing on building those relationships with three avatars or whatever number that you choose, um, then you could have your buyers lined up. You get the properties that they want, and then it's a sure thing, right?
Yeah.
And then you're not
Yep.
making the agents mad because agents have had a bad taste in their mouths from working with wholesalers who don't
Yeah.
already have the buyer lined up, because
Yeah.
then it ends up going out of contract, right? They cancel the contract before the end of the inspection period, and now they got to start the whole process again. So
Yeah.
you could be their
Absolutely.
favorite wholesaler having your
Yeah.
buyers already lined up.
Yeah. Yeah. That was actually one of my goals going in was like whoever I met, try to ask them like if they're a buyer, what they're looking for, and then get a list of buy box. And I just checking my blink this morning. I think I'm connected with like at least 30, 40 people. And of those, at least like 10 are buyers. And I've like in the notes, I've written down like what their buy box are. So my
Nice.
plan is to like organize it and then start. I have buyers that are actively looking from who I met last week. So to target that. So, um,
Awesome.
yeah, I think this deal that I did right now, I did it the opposite. I just got a deal under contract and then tried to find a buyer. And it was a little hectic and um, a, a learning process, let's say. But
Yeah.
but the goal is not the money. It's the skills that I'm acquiring throughout the process. So I learned a lot in that one deal. So
Yep. Yep.
um, yeah, now time to just apply it to more deals.
Exactly. Love
Yeah,
it. Well, okay, awesome. So we're gonna get our follow-up on the calendar in 60
yeah,
days, and we'll have some celebrating to do, I'm sure.
yeah,
Thank you so much
absolutely.
for hopping on with me and doing this.
Yeah, no, thank you for doing this because this is going to keep me accountable and that's what I need. So this is awesome.
Love it. All right.
Yeah,
Talk to you
I can't wait to
later.
check out. Yeah, cool. Sounds good.
Thanks.